If you're waiting for interest rates to go back to 3%, this episode could save you tens of thousands of dollars. Watch this episode to learn why rate waiting could cost you time, money, and more.
Hi guys, it's Christina Bishop with Keller Williams Innovate, your local realtor here in the East Coast of North Carolina. I'm here with Anthony from CrossCountry Mortgage. Anthony, describe a little bit about yourself.
I'm here with Christina. I got invited on this interview. I'm a local mortgage broker. I'm based out of Holly Ridge, North Carolina. Been in the area for right at 3 years now. I love this area. I love supporting local realtors. You might see me at open houses in the area if you are looking to purchase, or if you're a realtor tuning in, you may get a call from me saying, "Hey, can I come support you?" Just as I did with Christina. But full spectrum retail bank, and we have brokered products in addition to access to a private funding as well. So we're a one-stop shop when it comes to mortgage financing.
That's awesome. Well, let's rip the Band-Aid off. Interest rates. Clients ask me every day, should I wait for rates to go back to 3%? So Anthony, what do you tell them?
And us in the mortgage industry, we hear that every day. Here's the reality. You can't time the market. If you wait for the perfect interest rate, you might find that home prices have appreciated so much that your monthly payment is actually higher than it would be today with a higher rate. You know, we get so invested in that rate that we forget that might be our dream house that we're just letting slip by.
Yeah, that's right. It's the cost of waiting. So
exactly. And I always tell my clients, you marry the house and date the rate. I'm sure everyone has heard that. You could always refinance it if rates drop significantly in the future. But if you go back in time and buy a house at today's price, you can't do it. You know, there's no time machine. So
yeah, that's a great point. And honestly, when rates drop, everyone rushes back into the market. Right.
Yeah, and you know that does cause the bidding wars too, right? And right now buyers have a little bit more time negotiating. And we can ask sellers for concessions, like we can request a 2-to-1 buy down, lower the interest rate for the first 2 years. But that goes away with a hot market. You know, all that negotiating and, you know, asking, we're offering below asking price, seller concessions, hot markets, that all goes away. So it's so advantageous to try and get in when there are more buyers than there are, more sellers than there are buyers.
That's right. So let's say someone's thinking, okay, I'm ready to go look. Why do I keep annoying them to call you before they go look at houses?
Well, I like the shopping cart analogy. You don't go to the store for Thanksgiving shopping, load it up with the turkey, the stuffing, cranberry sauce, another ham. And then you get to the checkout line, you're like, where's my wallet? How do I pay for this? I don't have any money in the bank account. That's heartbreaking. So that's why you're asking them, you know, can you afford this home? The worst thing that could happen is that we go to spend all this time. We're looking at a $400,000 homes when really our budget is more like $300,000. Or it may just be a comfortability thing, you know, like right now we can afford a 400, but we're going to start a business next year and we need to finance a truck, you know, or we're going to be able to juggle all those bills together. And that's why we have to have those conversations before. We can't always predict the future, but talking to somebody just to work out your plans can make all the difference, and then save time for the buyers, save time for you, the realtor, and just really we can focus on what houses we really want to put in those offers on.
That sounds good. So the pre-approval is step one. But can you explain the difference to our listeners? Because there's always these click here for instant approval buttons online. Is that the same thing that you do?
No, I mean, that's a pre-qualification. That's just a computer taking your word for it. What we do when we do a pre-approval, we trust but verify, right? So we're going to ask for your documents. We're going to ask for those tax returns, pay stubs, W-2s. All of those different things get taken into consideration. And we can even go a step further and pretty much pre-underwrite the whole file even before you go looking at houses or putting offers in homes. This is for another video, but we could do a seller guarantee, which maximizes your offer to each seller that you put in an offer. When you rarely lose it with that, but you know, if we give you a pre-approval, that's just about as good as cash. It's about as close as you can get to a cash offer when we give you a pre-approval. And that's what sellers are looking for when they're deciding, do I go with this offer or that offer? Well, this one's got a pre-qual, with it could be a 50% down payment, and they're just a little lazy and didn't want to get their pre-approval. But if you see a pre-approval and they've got the pre-underwriting, and you may only be putting 5% down, they're probably going to go with that offer because they know that within 30 days that offer is going to close. So that wins deals, it saves time. And really, like I said, if you got that house that you want to win, you don't want to lose it. So that's why it's so important.
Yeah, a win-win. So it does make my job a lot easier. When I present an offer backed by you, the listing agent knows the deal isn't going to fall apart in 2 weeks. All right, so next question. Do you always need 20% down and a 750 plus credit score to buy a home?
No, the short answer is no. There are infinite products for just about every situation that we can get thrown at us. Of course, we have the veterans programs for VA loans, 100% down. That's very, very common with Camp Lejeune right here. Lots of PCSing. We even got Cherry Point. So we're here for the veterans. That's very, very simple. FHA standard is 3.5% down, but we've got DPA programs that can cover that gap. North Carolina has a grant program as well. It's free money for first-time home buyers. We've also got conventional down to 1% with down payment assistance. So you get 4% down payment assistance, 1% comes out of pocket, and you're in a conventional loan, which really helps if you have a departing residence that you can't sell, because FHA is so strict about their rules on equity in the departing residence. So if you have to rent that property in order to break even when you sell it, we can get you into that home, put the departing residence up for rent, and really, really solve a lot of problems for people with that program too. So no. And then as far as credit scores go, yes, we all aim for those 750 plus credit scores, but we've got programs down to the 500s. We can help everybody. We understand it's been tough these past 5 years. So we've got a product for everyone. And if we don't, it's not a matter of can we do it today, it's what can we do tomorrow, right? So we've got credit building programs to help every borrower build up that credit to the point where they can buy a house. So many times I say, hey, Mr. Customer, it may not be today, but how about February? What if we can get you in a home by February? What can we do to solve that? Can we extend your lease into your rental home? And let's do month to month, and we'll be ready to go by February. So we're not going to give up on anyone. We're going to coach, train, educate our borrowers to the point where they can be homeowners. That's a big focus for what we do here.
That's awesome. So what about the self-employed folks, 1099 employees? They often think they can't get a loan because of the tax write-offs, which makes their income look too low.
Right. So especially your self-employed, obviously, we want to use every deduction, and it just shows on paper that she may not take that much on a W-2 away from it. Commission employees, myself, realtors, especially if you're newer to the industry and if the income fluctuates. We have what we call bank statement loans. So if we see revenue, money flowing in and out over the past 12 months, bank statement loans open up homeownership opportunities to a ton of borrowers that would think otherwise. Non-QM loans, we've got, which falls into the bank statement. There's alt doc. If you have some assets that we can show, we can do asset utilization. You may have a strong bank account, but don't show a lot of income on those returns. That's an option as well. And then as far as investor profiles, let's say you're self-employed and you want to buy an investment property, it makes it a ton harder. Well, not with us. We can establish a way for you to park some of that cash into multiple investment properties and just snowball from there. We can turn 200 grand in the bank into 4 or 5 investment properties, earning you 10, 15%, per year on appreciation. especially here on the coast if the trends continue. There's going to be no money market, no stock account that's safe that will give you that kind of return on investment. So for all of our investors, self-employed, people who get commission income, we've got the solution for you. And once again, we can always coach you. We can work with your realtor and say, hey, look, let's be on the lookout for homes that are coming soon in February, and let's get them into something and be ready. So there's a product for everyone. We just got to find it.
Wow, that's amazing. That was so helpful. I think the takeaway here is that real estate isn't a solo sport. You really need a team.
100%. You need a local team. You need people that are going to ask these questions and just not give up on a consumer because they may have a difficult situation. Low-hanging fruit is definitely easy to obtain, but we're here for everyone and want to give everyone an equal shot at that. And having people who are going to sit here and talk to each other and just really, really broaden the horizons of the borrower who doesn't think that they can borrow that money to get them into a home. It's just, there's nothing better than that.
That's right. So where can our listeners find you if they want to run some numbers or just ask questions?
Yeah, of course. My name's Anthony. My number is 336-340-8000. Super easy. I've always got my phone on me. Doesn't hurt to ever call or text me. And of course, I'll give Christina a link to my stuff, my application link and all that. And she can put it in her captions on social media and we can go from there. And then of course, if you need a realtor, talk to Christina. She'd love to help you. What areas do you serve, Christina? You go from Wilmington up to New Bern?
Sure. Yep. And down the coast, Jacksonville, all over. Yep.
Yep. So that's a big area, but like I always tell everyone, we're not in Charlotte where we have that 50-mile circle, right? So we've got ocean over here. So we've got to really broaden our area kind of vertically, along the coast, especially with Holly Shelter game land and things like that. Properties are getting scooped up, talk to Christina, get you into something before there's nothing left.
That's right. Well, thank you so much. Again, I'm Christina Bishop, and like you said, I can help you with all of your real estate needs. And my number is 704-891-7860. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.